Mississippi recently passed a law requiring physicians to tell their patients about a highly disputed study that links abortion with breast cancer. This doctor would rather risk arrest than obey a law based on inconclusive evidence.
I'm not giving my patients misinformation. And if everyone gets that kind of conviction, and we get people to wake up and see what's going on and how government is intruding into women's lives and doctors' lives, maybe something can be done in this country.
In Montana, this physician's assistant was confronted with a new law which would take away her right to provide abortions. For almost 2 decades, she's been working with the same doctor, serving people of all ages in their family practice.
This last legislative session in Montana, there was a bill brought to the legislature that basically prevented physician assistants from doing abortions. And I am a physician assistant and the only one in Montana who does abortions. This legislation was brought to the government by the Right to Life organization and passed. So as of October 1st, I can no longer perform the abortions that I've been doing for 18 years.
Okay, so what we need to do is set you up for a time. Your mom came with you today. She's welcome to come back with you and be here with you throughout the procedure.
Okay, and you'll be in here also with the doctor?
Right, I'll be here to hold every...
No chance of you doing it with him?
I'm not allowed to do it right now, but I won't leave you. Okay. Okay.
Prior to the law passing, their office was set on fire. Despite these setbacks, she's not lost courage. Represented by the Center for Reproductive Law and Policy, she's appealing her case to the federal courts.
After the firebombing in our office, our whole office and my family went through a lot of struggle about whether I should continue to do that. And for me, it was a combination of making my own decisions about my life and also having to make them because I am not alone. I have a family who I have to be sensitive to. Their emotions and their feelings are very important to me. And my child, I also did not want him to live in fear. I don't want him to become paranoid. He's a very happy person, but yet I wanted him to understand that there are people in our lives that can harm us, and we need to be sensitive to that. And my husband worried a lot, did not want me to continue, and we had to talk, and he came around, interestingly enough, to the same thing that I came around, which is that if you don't live by what you believe, what are you living for?
The domestic terrorism that has plagued the nation comes as a particular shock when it occurs in a small town where people know each other. After the fire gutted their office, the doctor spoke out in support of the principles which he felt had been violated.
It's disrespect for society, for laws, for religious freedom, democracy, the things that we stand for in our country.
The members of this community rose above their differences to take a stand against the violence.
People on all sides of the issue of abortion telephoned our daughter and said, you know, isn't there something we can do? I mean, this is our community too. There must be something. And after, I don't know how many such telephone calls, our daughter organized a meeting and called ourselves the Flathead Safe Place Project. Their first major event was a rally. Speakers from the Medical Society, our mayor, police chief, fire chief, school teachers, school superintendent, plain people such as we are, spoke, saying that in our community there are certain values which we hold. They are the glue for us as a community. We may have different styles of religious practice or no religious practice at all. We may hold different beliefs very strongly about any number of issues, and we may differ in our minds almost vehemently But no matter that, as a community, we will have discourse in a civil manner, and that, as the Flathead Safe Place Project mission statement says, a crime against one of us is a crime against us all.
The first step toward healing is understanding. Few people understand the full impact of anti-abortion activities. Harassment that targets providers and their families. Aggressive picketing that hinders access to safe abortions. Funding restrictions that burden people with low incomes. Religious leaders who punish individuals with dissident views. Laws that limit the rights of trained providers. Violence that threatens and endangers doctors and clinic workers. With understanding come the seeds of compassion.
All providers are on the battle lines, on the front lines. I've worked with most of the doctors who've been killed and knew them personally. When those horrible things happen, and we are feeling so isolated and so alone and so vulnerable, and I lock the door and walk out at night and think, maybe I just won't go back tomorrow. It's just not worth it. Maybe I just won't go back. And then I drive home. And it never fails. The face of my friend who died from a self-induced abortion comes to me. And it won't go away. And I know if I don't come back the next day, there will be another one. We still have it going on. Even as hard as we try, it's still going on.
The picketers fail to realize that the number of abortions is not going to change. These women will either travel to other clinics as fewer and fewer clinics become available. Then it's going to go back to the back alley days. I mean, they all seem to have forgotten about what this whole issue is about. This is about keeping women from dying again.